Welcome to another episode of Monster of the Week. We're picking up with a kind of episode 3.5, I guess I would call it. We are going to try to catch Henrietta and Olivia up with the rest of the group after the events on the plains. So we will start with a then. And then we will skip to the now. So, then, back on the plane trip from Sioux Falls.
You were snoring.
Yes. Henrietta had some of her medicine that she had partaken from the doctor that had stitched them up after the whole Sioux Falls incident. And had basically fallen asleep on the plane. Olivia put her headphones in and decided to kind of tune everybody else out. You did notice that too. You did notice Gray walking back and forth a little bit more. And he was walking around, went into the pilot's cabin. And was in there for a few minutes and then came back out and had actually started to talk to Danica. And Danica started, like, moving her hands like she was going to cast a spell. And, like, you were watching as this happened, Olivia, and you were like, something doesn't feel right. Not that Danica is, terrible at spells. You're definitely more adept, but it almost felt like something had intruded upon the spell itself. There was a force, just for a second, that you felt somewhere else close by, but all of a sudden you look forward and you see that Henrietta is gone in a blink, and like, you see something out of the corner of your eye, and you quickly take down your headphones, and you see Henrietta as she is flailing in the air outside of the plane, both dropping and as the plane is moving forward, like she's being left behind. And Danica just looks at you like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry!" And this sudden realization that the person who has cared for you for as long as you can remember is being dropped very unceremoniously out of a plane by someone you had thought was an ally. It actually stirs this anger in you for a second. Like, how the fuck dare you? And you look at her and you said, "I've got it." And they see, as your eyes went completely black and you disappear after having cast some magic, and you reappear back out on the outside of the plane, and you are able to, like, catch Henrietta in your grasp. And that's where we'll pick up here. So you two are now falling. You wake up and you are spinning outside of the plane and falling at, yeah. Suddenly, with an audible pop, all of a sudden Olivia is, like, nearby you, and she grabs a hold of you.
Shit! I got you. I got you. You're fine.
This is not fine!
We're gonna be fine. Can I see the ground at this point?
Yeah, it is coming quickly because, unbeknownst to you, there had been an issue with the weight of the plane. So the pilot had been starting to descend to try to make it to the nearest airport. So you guys are actually a lot lower than you had been at the arc of your flight. So you guys are falling at a pretty rapid pace. The ground is coming up quickly towards you.
Okay. I'm going to try and use magic, I guess, to prevent us from, splatting on the ground. That's literally the only thing I can think of. Although I don't have any teleportation magic necessarily. I mean, potentially big magic, but that would be, like, time and effort for both of us. I guess. I don't have anything else that can
So,
really work.
yeah, no, you're thinking for a second and you're panicking all of a sudden now that you're on the outside of the plane, what the fuck am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are falling and you're still twisting in the air and you're trying to think of some magic that can help you.
Make us lightweight or something. I don't know.
I mean, that is possibly something that's beyond a human, right? Beyond human limitation. But I mean, how is changing our weight going to change anything?
Can you grow wings or something? I don't know.
No, I can't grow wings.
Make us into a bird. I don't know.
I can't change the.
Suddenly,
I don't know how this works.
Suddenly, Olivia, in your voice, you hear, Olivia.
What the fuck was
No, you
Oh,
didn't.
I
you
did
did
hear
not
it.
hear
Okay.
it.
I just hear in my head, right?
Mm-hmm.
I say, "Hello."
Olivia, my child, you're not doing very well, are you?
What? No.
You require some assistance, my dear.
From who?
No. And you think for a second on that voice, and all of a sudden it hits you. This is the voice that you had heard. The last voice you remember hearing before Henrietta had actually come and saved you.
Okay.
It now dawns on you with a click, and you're like, no. No.
Do I know the name of this person, or do I just recognize the voice?
You do know the name, because he never told you, but the people that had cared for you had whispered his name, and his name is Asmodeus.
Oh. And yes, I'll say, oh no, I don't need any of your help. I'll figure it out on my own. Don't interfere with our affairs. Obviously you can tell my expression is changing from I got this to a oh fuck. And I'm not
Olivia.
saying anything.
Present.
The ground is now, within sight. You're over the Midwest, so you've got open fields underneath you. One of them is coming up fairly quickly.
You gotta come up with something quick, dear.
Do it. Just do it.
Very well. So you guys are still falling, and this voice has agreed to help out, but you guys are still falling, and the ground's getting closer. Henrietta, and you guys are within a couple 100 feet of it, and you guys are still kind of spinning in the air, and you're just at this point, you're gonna hit the ground. She hasn't said anything about what's going on.
Yeah. I'll say, Livy, I love you. Oh, please do something.
And I look at you with a mournful look and say, "It'll be fine."
You see this figure now coming down into this very open field. You see this figure. He's dressed in a very nice white suit, kind of pulled back but kind of curly, mid-length, kind of grayish hair. And you see him look up at you, and he's got a cane in one hand with a jewel on the top, and he kind of taps it on the ground as you guys are less than 50 feet from the ground, and you come to a careening halt right in front of him, unable to move.
And I'm sure you are freaking out. I recognize him as Osmos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I say, "This is our savior."
Who the fuck are you?
Well, as she said, I'm safe. And He pushes the gem on the end of the cane against your head, Henrietta, and you lose consciousness and falls to the ground.
Do I know, like, what he did? Like, is that something I've seen before, or did she just... And so, immediately, as that happened, I flip out, and I'm assuming I still can't move, but I just start screaming at him, "What did you do to her?"
Oh, don't worry, I haven't done the worst that I can to her yet.
Oh, I know that. But, what...
She'll remain breathing as long as you remain cooperative.
Fuck. What do you want?
Well, I just want to see how you've grown in these past years, my dear.
Well, as you can see, I've gotten taller, and my hair has grown.
That's enough insolence from you. And he touches the rod to your head. You don't pass out. You actually, like, seize up in pain as this kind of, fiery, like, stabbing pain goes right down your spine and in all your joints, and you, like, seize up like this just because that's the power of the pain that's coming through you, like, being shocked. And, he says, I'd rather test it out myself. Why don't you come back to my place?
Do I have, like, my faculties now? Can I stand? Am I still floating in the air?
You're still floating in the air.
I'll say through, like, grinned, bared teeth, I guess I don't have much of a choice.
That's my dear. And, he now waves his hand and you pass unconscious. So, some time passes, Henrietta. Dream comes to you. And it's not a pleasant one. You dream about that night that your son was abducted from your home. And you dream about finally finding him in the Wendigo Cave, torn to pieces. And just like that night, you cradle that body and cry out into the night. And as you look back down, you see Olivia instead in your arms, bleeding out. Then a figure approaches you from behind. This figure is somebody from your tribe, an elder. Not one of the elders that tried to say he just ran away, but one that actually had believed you. This is Elder Thomas Running Horse. And he is dressed to the nines like he would be for some kind of ceremony, either a wake or powwow. He has full feather headband on. But he doesn't appear quite as you remember him. He appears like warriors of old, where he has the bone chain shirt and the leather pants, and he is painted with not war paint, but the elder paints. And he approaches you from behind and puts a hand on your shoulder, and he says, "What troubles you, my dear?"
Why did I lose my baby?
That is something that fate preordains of everyone. Whether we can stop it or not is not up to us. But what we can do with that time going forward.
How can I save him?
He looks down and he, carrying one of the medicine man staffs. And he actually touches this image, or as you know it, Olivia, in your hands, and touches her, and he says, "She has a destiny. She needs a protector, someone to show her the righteous path, whether or not she dies."
Doing the best I can.
Do better, Henrietta. You have it within you. Now wake up. He says, "Wake up," and it starts to echo, and you come to, and you are now in this wet and dank underground, unfinished basement kind of area, and you look up, and your arms are chained above you. You're hanging from some kind of pipe, and you've been stripped of any equipment that you have on you, obviously. And there is a figure standing next to a door. He's dressed rather nice, in a suit, and he's just kind of standing there staring at you.
Fuck am I?
He doesn't answer you.
What, they cut your tongue out or something? Oi, boy! Speak!
And he takes his hand and he does this, and your guts start to, turn on the inside, and he says, "Only reason that you're still alive is because the boss thinks you're useful. Keep your mouth shut, and you might still be useful."
That's smarts. I'm gonna remember that.
Henrietta will remember this. All of a sudden you hear a scream coming in from another room. You definitely recognize this voice as Olivia, and it's a shrill scream. You definitely gather she's probably being tortured in some way or fashion. It's a pleasurable. Oh!
Libby? Libby, hold on!
No response.
So, you're my babysitter?
And he just kind of scoffs at you.
Look a little bit young to be my babysitter.
He kind of laughs a little
down
bit.
there?
He kind of laughs a little bit at your remark, and he says, "Yeah, sure, young. I've seen the Black Plague, but I'm young."
Oh, you're one of them. All right.
He takes off the glasses that he has, and he kind of smiles at you as his eyes quickly flicker, completely black.
I see. Oh, well, I like what you've done with the place. Really charming.
He doesn't respond.
So, I find myself coming off as very rude. I didn't bring anything to the potluck.
Oh, I think I disagree. I mean, you've got some meaty bits on you, and he, takes his hand and, makes your insides churn again. Just as soon as the boss says as we can, I think I'm going to take those eyeballs out. Maybe munch on them.
I'd like to see you try, Hellspawn.
Not much you can do about it, and he kind of points up to the chains on your hands.
Yeah, I suppose you got me. We'll just have to see about that, though. It's a long night, I suppose. hanging out.
Alright.
Quite literally.
So on the other side of this door, Olivia, you had woken up. Room is for a basement is sterilized for the most part, and you wake up and you find yourself in leather spell bindings. They're across your chest, across your midsection, across your feet, your hands, and there's one across your mouth as well. And figure you know is Asmodeus. He steps out from the corner and he goes, you're awake.
And I think to him, of course yes, I'm awake. What do you want? Like, I'm screaming in his head as loud as I can, obviously, because I'm...
He actually kind of laughs at that remark, and he says, you'll look around, there's some familiar toys that you might remember from our time prior.
And I will look around and try and see what he is talking about.
Yeah, so there's a number of like trays on small rolling carts around, and they are of barbed and ruined implements, hooks, and
Fun.
just all sorts of the fun kind of torture devices that you can even imagine. There's a number of pliers and other implements as well.
So, having been in a similar situation like this prior, do I know specifically what he is trying to get out of me? Like, is he just trying to learn more about how I have powers, or is he trying to get information out of me? Or
so, as painful as it is to remember the last time that you were with Asmodeus, you think back on it, and it is definitely painful to remember, as you have definitely been repressing a lot of what had happened the last time. And you remember that he used quite a few implements on you just to basically torture you, like the first few years that you can remember that you were with him. But eventually, it seemed like he may have even gotten bored or dissatisfied with the results of that. But he started implementing like these tiny little needles and acupuncture and even this headgear that seemed to trigger different magical effects. Okay. So you're not really sure as to what he was trying to do, but you do know that he had been able to trigger these magics that you've never been able to do before.
Okay. So looking around at these implements, and then looking back at him and say, yeah, of course, again, in his head, I don't love this, but we both know you're going to get bored of this eventually. It's only a matter of time, and yes, I'll scream, and yes, I'll feel pain, but what really is this all for?
And he actually smiles at that, and he says, well, I'm glad you asked, because we were missing a particular piece of the puzzle the last time that you were here, and I'm glad that your friends helped you find it. And he takes your hand and he turns it over to the symbol that's there on the top of your hand, and he says, I see you've gone and gotten yourself a nice tattoo.
And I go blank for a second as I don't know what this thing is really, and I don't know how it fits in, and I'm just kind of actually scared for just a split second, oh fuck.
And he actually laughs a little bit, and he puts your hand back down and kind of gives it a light pat, caring gesture from somebody who definitely has never shown that before. And he says, well, now that you've got that, I think it's time we get down to business, don't you?
Tell me where Henrietta is first.
Oh, your friend, she's hanging out.
How do I know she's safe?
And you see him kind of close his eyes for a second, and Henrietta in the other room, the other demon that had been standing in the front door, goes over to you, and he pulls out a blade, and he takes your toe, your pinky toe, and he jams the end of the blade underneath your pinky toe, and he pries it up. Mm-hmm. And this pain is enough to make you, even as hardened as you are, to scream out, because there are certain parts of the body that are just squishy enough to get you to cry out, and you hear this cry from the other room.
Don't hurt her.
Well, you wanted me to prove that she was safe. She certainly is.
Hurting her is not... that's not going to help you. It's not going to make me more compliant. I just need to know that she isn't being harmed in any way. But at least she's alive. Get on with it.
And he says, "Oh, I shan't be doing it. We've done this a few times my way. I will leave that up to my associate, and I shall just stay and see how he works." And you see another figure step from the shadows, and he is a demon as well. You can instantly tell. But he's a little bit taller, and it seems like got kind of a scraggly beard going on, really short, kind of dirty blonde hair. And he is wearing a button-up shirt that he's already rolled the cuffs up on, and he's got a vest on, nice pair of pants, and he steps forward and he says, "Well, you know, Asmodeus, that Zazel's not gonna like this," and Asmodeus gives him this stare of death, and he said, "And Azazel will not find out. That is per our agreements. You get to have your fun, and I get what's needed."
Do I recognize Azazel as someone that I've encountered, or is that a new name for me?
That's a new name for you.
Okay. Sounds good.
But then Asmodeus says, "Olivia, my dear, I would like you to meet my business partner, Mr. Alistair. He is going to be taking over for me in these matters."
So, Alistair, what is your specialty?
Well, you see, my specialty is torture. And he picks up one of the runic blades, and he actually takes it, and he fillets just a small piece of your flesh off of your side there, and then he takes a little bit of salt and rubs it right into where that's at.
Well, that's smart.
And we're just getting started.
I'm not used to that anymore. That'll take some getting used to.
Oh, there's a whole slew of things I don't think that Mr. Asmodeus here has had time to use on you, so we're going to get to know each other first, and then I'll get what he needs.
I don't say anything back. I just stare daggers at him.
And he pulls the ruined leather strap back over your mouth nice and tight.
It was removed?
For a moment.
Oh, okay. I was just talking to his head as much as I could. As I was assuming I was still covered. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
So this goes on for what seems like a few days. Just the regular torture. I mean, you are force-fed water and food as you are as well. But I'm imagining that you're probably spitting your food out. You don't really get much of a choice because of the leather strap.
Yep.
You have a choice whether or not you consume said food.
Mm. Yeah. I imagine the first time I reluctantly take it and
Cute.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes it and he just throws the plate in the corner.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. Just some questions that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
So they took all my hunting equipment, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Am I still wearing a shirt or jacket or?
So you're probably down to what your bottom base of clothing would be. So
Okay. Fair
not
enough.
quite underwear, but
Yeah.
shirt and pants.
Okay. So
You do not have any shoes on,
right. Yes.
obviously.
Obviously, as my hole where my toe used to be is. Okay, so all right. So I guess what I'm gonna ask is, does this guard switch out or leave sometimes or?
Yes, so you do see that there's about a change of 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
They change out intermittently.
Mhm.
It's hard to tell the time down here. There's no windows or anything. The only thing that may give you some semblance of time is above you, the pipe that you're on.
Mhm.
Seems like somewhere along the lines that there's a leak, and the leak has started because you're chained up and pulling on it. You're giving it a little bit of weight. The water has started to come down and trickle on top of your chains.
Okay.
Small little drops.
How far away is that leak?
You're not quite sure because it is very dark down here. There's
Right.
no light source down
Okay.
here.
So it could be on the other end dribbling down the pipe.
Mhm.
Okay. Does that kind of creak if I shift a little
It does creak a little bit, but
bit? Okay.
you've been tied up for a while now and you
Mhm.
haven't been taking sustenance, so moving is very exhaustive.
Okay, so living the life I live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not the first time I've been tied up or locked or something like that.
Oh no.
Would I have stowed a pin just in my sleeve that they didn't find?
It's possible, but your feet are dangling off of the floor,
Mhm.
so getting to said pin is you are like this with your hands above
Okay,
you,
yeah.
and not being seen as they are always watching you
Mm-hmm.
will take some time.
Okay. So I'll say to whoever the guard is.
Sure.
Call
him Jerry.
Jerry? Okay,
Yeah, sure.
yeah. All right. I think at this point I'd probably give him nicknames.
Yeah,
Hey, Jerry.
he just kind of rolls his eyes at you.
Mm-hmm. So, how long you been possessing bodies?
Longer than you've been alive.
Yeah. So, how do you get such a prestigious rank as to watch an old woman hanging from a pipe?
You see, it comes with the promise of being able to eat you later.
Oh, you are a patient one. Oh, well, I don't know about you, but I know you must be very anxious to get on with this. And, more days I hang here and not eat food, I'm just whittling away, aren't I?
Isn't that your fault?
Oh, I know, but, your opportunity for a prime cut is whittling away by the hour. It'd probably be in your best interest if you just brought it up to have a meeting with your boss.
Yeah, well, my boss is a very busy man, as you can hear, and you hear more screams from Olivia on the other side of this door.
Oh, for sure. But, he's got people to do that. Just like he has people to do bitch work like watch old ladies.
And you see him, like start to walk towards you, and then like something. It almost seems like something is like somebody had yelled at him, but you couldn't quite hear it, and he just kind of like resumes back and puts his arms back in that like standing at attention kind of.
Oh, what's wrong? It looks like you were gonna say something. Cat got your tongue?
And he just looks straight down at the floor.
Well, I'm going to start singing.
Camptown races. Pull a Lucifer.
Only you.
You don't actually have to sing, honey.
I just want
Some idea.
some idea of how terrible it's coming off.
Sure.
Even enough to make a demon want to kill himself.
That's fair.
So, yeah, about the third day, you're feeling really haggard after singing, not taking food, and at this point, you nod off at intervals, and you're not really sure what's real or what's wake and what's dream anymore. It seems to kind of blend together, but you're always stuck in this place, even in your dream. But you start to recognize your dream as about the third day. The elder starts to come and visit you, and you can tell the difference between dream time and wake time. And he just kind of looks at you and kind of shakes his head and says, "More powerful than this. You come from a more powerful people."
I just don't know what to do. All right. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get Livy. We're getting out of this joint.
Then why are you still chained up?
I think I look down and I see the chains in my dream form.
You mean up?
Yeah, because chains are above you.
Yeah. And I imagine, like, in my dream, I'm going to start, like, trying to yank against them.
You get this in your mind and you start yanking them, and you have this in your head, I'm going to give it my go and pull as hard as I can. And you do that, and it doesn't even take you pulling your full force, and your hands actually slip completely free of the chains. And you start to kind of slowly fall to the floor, which is only about a foot or so. But yeah, you land on the floor, and the chief goes, "About time." You look around and you take a step out from where you are. Everything here is frozen. And you look back and you see your body is still chained up.
I keep moving forward. Where am I? Is this like a hallway or something? Or
no, it's a big square, open, unfinished basement. A couple pillars in the way.
All right. I look back. Is that the guard still there?
He is frozen in place. Like he doesn't notice that you're here.
Okay. I'm gonna head in the direction I thought I heard Olivia screaming from.
Which would be by the guard who is standing at the door.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go there, and I'll try and press through the door. So
I imagine, you're not really used to this. You've never, while your tribe has had sweat lodges and dream trips, usually females aren't allowed to, at this point in time, partake. And even so, when you had, never bought completely into it or anything like that.
Right.
You've had a trip or two. There
Yeah.
have been hallucinogens that have. This is not that. This is not being high or anything at all. This is completely and utterly dream walking, as your elders have called it.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to try the door, and your hand goes completely through the door.
Mm-hmm. I keep walking through.
Yeah, you kind of take a deep breath, and you're like, okay, I can do this. And you walk through the door, and you see in the middle of this room, one hanging light bulb. You see Olivia basically naked on this table with leather straps around her feet, around her hips, around her chest, mouth, arms, wrists.
Okay.
They're all runic, and they're in the corner is the figure that you saw in the field. He's sitting there in a chair. He's got his legs crossed, and he seems to be smoking a cigar. And there is another figure there standing next to Olivia, and he seems to be taking these really long needles and pressing them to the temples of Olivia's head.
I think my immediate reaction is to go up to the torturer and just start wildly swinging at him.
And you do so, but you're swinging right through this form.
Okay. I look down at Olivia, so she's strapped down. Little metagame, but does she still have the spell tags on her?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, all of the bindings here are etched with some kind of runes.
Okay. I want to reach for the one at her mouth and just try and will myself to try and lift it off of her mouth.
Okay. So you reach down and you start trying to pull it away. And as you touch the bindings there's a little psst. And you have to pull your hand away because it is kind of a spark,
right,
touching an exposed wire.
Okay.
But for a second there, when you touched Olivia, you felt a different kind of sensation as you had been swinging through this person that was putting these torture devices in Olivia. It's always cold when you swing through these permanent objects, but as you had touched Olivia for a second, seemed like it was a different sensation, almost like reaching your hand in a stream of warm water.
Okay. I shake off the pain or the sensation.
Yeah, leave your hand a little numb.
I'm gonna try and grab it again and just yank it off.
Go ahead and give me an act under pressure.
Okay.
I'm assuming I can't sense that she's nearby, correct?
Act under pressure is plus cool.
Yep.
Huh, I ain't got shit. So that is a whole 5.
5, okay. So yeah, that is a failure. And as you do that, the runes, they glow up and they shock you enough to push you back from Olivia. Olivia, in the real world, you have been tortured for days, and finally they've gotten to the smaller implements. They, unbeknownst to Henrietta, have started to actually get some magical results out of you. You feel that this is nothing new, though. They're going through the same motions that they had before, being able to produce small magical effects. And Alistair has started to put those needles in your head and move them around a little bit. And you try to escape as much as you can back into your own head. And all of a sudden you feel this cool wave wash over you by in your head area. And it's really weird because it's not coming from anything in this room that you can see.
Okay, so I'm assuming I can't like reach out telepathically or anything like to an unseen force because I can't see it.
Well, you do know that Henrietta is in the other room.
But didn't you base my telepathy on sight? So I can't speak to her in her head.
Yep.
But like I can reach out, like just like a sonar wave kind of thing, like
just putting a message out there.
Yeah, like is there anyone out there? Like, can someone hear me? Type of thing. Just to try and understand what something like some other type of entity that might be here.
We'll shift back into the dreamscape here. Cue the like grayness passing through the dreamscape, and you're pushed back by this, and it literally makes like both of your hands like super numb. Like it takes you a second, and you're like, "Damn, that hurt." And you now see as the elder like walks through the door as well, and he says, "You're wasting your time."
Fine.
Suddenly you hear Olivia's voice. Is anybody there? And it kind of echoes all around. You look down at Olivia and she's not moving.
Mm-hmm. It's me, Olivia. I'm gonna get you out. You just hang tight. I'll be back.
Can I hear her talking or?
So cut back to the real world. You hear Henrietta's voice, and she says, "Just hang on. I'll be there soon."
Okay.
This is really weird because, like, you can't see Henrietta. You
No.
know how your telepathy works.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time that you've gotten a response from anybody that you can't see. So you can draw your own conclusions as to what's happening, whether or not she's invisible or something's going on.
I think I would immediately jump to Ghost. Because I've talked to ghosts before that aren't like they don't always show their visible form, but like when I talked to Sarah previously, like it took her. I don't remember if she actually physically showed herself, but she talked to me. So I would immediately think Ghost. So I would say, I don't know what's going on, but just we need to get out of here as soon as possible. I don't know how, but we need to get out. And at that point, I'm gonna try and like recede out of my mind and kind of like put on a show, kind of, and struggle against whatever this new torturer, not Asmodeus, Alistair, thank you, is doing to me, but completely different from completely different from when she first came in, because I was just like numb to it. Like I want to give a reaction to him to like so that he thinks that something good is happening potentially.
All right. So yeah, you struggle about it, and he actually kind of starts to finally like grin as he thinks he's getting, some kind of something out of you. So cut back to you. And you hear this here. You hear this message from Olivia, and you look over at the elder, and the elder says, "Let's start with something small. This being your first time."
What can I do? I passed through everything.
Come with me, child. And he walks back through the door.
Can I follow?
On the other side, the guard is standing there, and he says, "Watch." And he reaches his hand inside of the guard's head, and you don't know, you can't see because it's visibly obscured, but you can see him moving his hand around a little bit. He kind of closes his eyes and he opens them back up, and there's kind of this flare of light in his eyes that's kind of a purplish color. And you see the guard actually starts moving in the dreamscape, and he like pushes the figure out of the guard's body, and all of a sudden this like black smoky entity like falls forward into this dreamscape, and he seems like this tiny person, and he looks up all around and he's like, "What the hell?"
I'm gonna stomp on this little
Go ahead and give me some kick-ass.
Fucking curb stomp this son of a bitch. Oh,
nice.
Well,
Nice.
plus
Sixes.
plus my tough, which is a 14.
Yes.
So
you get to choose an extra effect. So either +1 you can take or give a +1 forward. You can do an additional harm, suffer less harm, or force the target where you want them.
Okay. I think I don't know.
So many possibilities.
I know. It's been so long since you played. I think I'm gonna choose to inflict terrible harm.
All right. So yeah, go ahead and describe as you the elder like pushes this figure forward towards you, and it's just this smoky humanoid looking figure, but it's very wispy and small, nowhere near as statuesque as yourselves are here in this game.
Yeah, I feel like in like my spectral form, like I've imagined myself the way I usually am, and so I have my big old like combat boots on, and I'm just grinding this shadow into the ground.
All right, so you knock him down, and you start like digging your boots in. What is your harm?
Well, that's a good question. I guess
Based on the established stage of the game. What's your weapon? The harm rating of your weapon and your
and I guess that depends on like just unarmed, like what that would be.
Yep. So fists are just a 1.
Just a 1
plus your tough.
Plus my tough, so that would be 3 plus the extra harm, so 4 damage.
I'm giving it to you in this particular way because it's not plus your tough normally. But since you are in this dreamscape, you have this ability to harm this creature a little more than you would in the physical world.
Nice.
It seems to do a little more damage than your fists normally do.
Okay.
As when you hit him, like this smoke just kind of like reverberates.
Okay.
So.
All right.
He is going to try to harm you back as part of kicking ass there, since he also gets to. And he kind of reaches up, and like the smoke forms this like solid, like almost knife-like feature, and he like pierces it through your chest, and you take 2 harm.
Okay. Do I have any armor in my spectral form?
No.
Okay, so it's straight up 2 harm.
Not yet.
Okay. All right. That just made things harder for him if I have all my abilities.
And then the elder looks at him and says, "You can harm somebody here," as he takes his staff and like hooks it around this figure, and the figure like just seizes up all of a sudden as you see this purplish energy come down the staff and like rope itself around this creature. And he says, "You can harm creatures here, but they will not die."
Okay.
Think of another solution.
I'm gonna try and step into the body it was in, and try and.
As you step towards it, the elder says, "That's a good idea, but I cannot hold him for very long." He says, "Think."
Okay.
Roll me an investigate mystery.
Okay.
See if we can get you a clue here.
All right, that's plus my sharp.
Yep.
So that is a 7.
7. All right. So, I'm going to give you this clue as you normally can ask your own questions here. And you see as the elder actually like looks up towards your figure that is still chained up and not able to go anywhere.
Okay.
And he turns the staff around for you to hold.
Okay. I grab the staff.
It kind of gives you this like, this little jump of power there, and it feels good.
Okay.
But you've got things to do, so.
Okay. I'm gonna go. So there's a guard guarding my body right now that separate. This was the one outside Olivia's, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go up to the guard that is guarding my body.
So that's the
Okay.
guard that pushed out of your body.
Okay.
There's that, and then there's 2 figures in the room with Olivia. There's no other guard. They haven't changed shift yet.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go up to the torturer, I want to say.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try and push that creature out myself.
So you try, but it's like a magnetizing thing where it seems like every time you do, it's a north kind of situation where you do and you try to push in, but there's already something there.
Okay. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see.
And the elder just says, "Think."
Okay.
Just talk it out, honey. Like, think
Okay.
of different places.
You can speak to him. He is here.
Well,
you can ask questions. You can.
So how can we exude some sort of force on these creatures and make them do things, or?
And he kind of points back towards the room and he says, "They already have something contained in their vessel, and they're very powerful. So would take a great force to be able to force them from their bodies. But this one is quite a bit weaker."
Okay, so I can't kill it, but I can harm it. Can I contain it in something else?
As long as the vessel is empty.
Okay, I'm looking around this room. What are there, like, any stupid containers? Like,
no, this room is very barren. Besides the pillars, the floor, the person's body, and your body.
is there like a broom or something?
No,
Or
it's completely barren in here. Besides, like, the plate of food.
how about like just a loose like rock or something?
The floor is dirt, like
Oh, okay.
dirt. So
Okay. Try and give me some hints. Okay. Well, I'm gonna take this. The creature is like clung onto the staff here.
yeah, like, think of it as almost a shepherd's hook,
Right.
kind of situation. It's trying its best to like fight this purplish energy.
Okay. Okay. I guess I'll haul it over to Olivia.
Okay, so you push it into the room, and you are pushing it into Olivia. Then
Yes.
okay. Olivia, in your time, now Alyssia's just going to town with these needles. He's getting a reaction. That's exactly what he wanted. So he's going a little more, a little harder, if you will, on what he is doing here, since he is having quite a bit of fun. All of a sudden, you feel like a force pushing into you from the side, and it's not Alistair. And all of a sudden, you are filled with this rage, and your eyes go completely black, and Alyssiar looks down at you. In the dream world, you see as this force is pulled into Olivia, and for the first time, you are seeing this aura off of Olivia that is rather frightening. This creature is. You were starting to push him in, but now he's being pulled in.
Fucking magic sponge.
and you like have to like pull the hook away from the creature as it is like trying to like claw its way and like trying to grab the hook and keep itself from being pulled in. It is very frightening. It's giving off this shrill as it is being pulled into Olivia. And Olivia, you feel this surge of power and your back starts to arch and your eyes go completely black. And Alistair gets kind of pushed back just by the force of this happening for a second. And he kind of looks back at Asmodeus and he says, "What have you done?" And Asmodeus just smiles at him. The bindings weaken a little bit for you to do, I will say, one action. Enough for that.
Are you saying the bindings as in like...
The magical bindings.
So, hypothetically, I could do like one spell or I could try and break one of the bindings necessarily. Okay.
Yep.
So, let's... He's not getting, like, these things aren't considered spirits. They're demons, which are different, correct? So I can't banish a spirit. Okay.
Because the demon doesn't have a soul.
Yes.
It's not a spirit.
I think I'm just going to lash out at Alistair, with some dark energy at him. Like my hair starts to just float a little bit, and just shoot like a black beam through my eyes at him, to try and just inflict some harm.
Alright.
Which
should be in your attack spells there, right?
Yep, inflict harm, but when I do... I can hex, which I can make him contract a disease, or make him break something specifically precious or important. So that's only 5 plus
weird
3, so 7. It's 8. Thank you. I can't do math. 8.
So it works imperfectly.
Yes.
So you've chosen your effect. You're trying to inflict harm, but you also have to choose a glitch.
Okay.
So
I will say I take a harm.
Take a harm?
As well, as this is probably, like, overwhelming for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do the inflict harm, and then I'm going to choose that he breaks something precious or important as a part of the...
Hex.
The hex.
Okay.
So...
Alright, so go ahead and mark down your harm.
Yep, I gotta find it.
And then, in the dreamscape, Henrietta, you see as Olivia's back starts to arch up and her eyes go completely black, and you're seeing now this this terrible aura coming from her, and it makes you feel ill even here. And she lets out with this like burst of magic centered around her eyes, and it literally pushes you back into the previous room. And what's your harm on? Your magic.
What do you?
Under your spell, when you hex, you should also have your harm.
Harm, magic, ignore armor. It just says harm 2.
Harm 2.
Oh, the number. Sorry.
Yeah. Just the number.
So it's 1 for the use magic, and that's. But I chose to do because I have to pick.
Oh, you have to pick between damage and
as well as the normal. You can pick from the following, and so I don't know if I can pick multiples or if I can just pick one.
You can pick one.
And
you chose the
precious.
Yeah, okay.
I want to do precious or important.
So it doesn't do any harm.
So it still does 1.
It still does the 1 harm.
Yeah, it's an extra thing on top of that.
Yeah.
So it still does 1, but he potentially breaks something important.
Gotcha. This force pushes you back. It doesn't do you any harm, but it definitely like forces you away. And you see as Alistair's hands kind of like he's got one of the implements in there, and he actually ends up accidentally slicing one of the bindings that's by your hands. Not all the way through, but enough to interrupt one of the runes.
Okay.
Does
he notice that it?
He does not notice.
Okay, good to know.
And you see as Asmodeus stands up from the corner, and he kind of starts clapping like this. And Alysia looks back at him and is very offended by what has happened, and he kind of throws down the implements that he was using on the table, and he said, I didn't agree to any of this. It was only supposed to be me doing the harming. And he says, well, you've proven most dutiful at your job. I think you can leave, Mr. Alistair. And he huffs out of the room and leaves, and Asmodeus comes over to you and says, how did that feel?
It felt powerful. It was strange, but bad. I don't know what that thing, what happened, but I just felt powerful.
He leans down and whispers in your ear, and he says, that was just a taste of a demon. Now imagine the taste of a titan. And imagine what we could do together with that kind of power.
Terrible, terrible things.
Great and terrible things. And he kind of touches the mark on your hand, and you feel this pain emanate from it. Mm-hmm. And you kind of look down at it, and there's something different about it now, but you're not really quite sure what.
What are you doing?
Well, we're just gonna make sure that you're compliant with the master plan.
I don't like that. That doesn't sound good.
You see, my father is a very demanding individual. He requires the utmost power to be able to free himself from where he currently is. And my dear Olivia, you're going to be that vessel.
What? Wait, do I know who his father is?
You don't, but you certainly may ask questions.
Yeah. What? Who's your father?
Oh, why, the Prince of Darkness himself.
Lucifer?
That's right.
Fuck. I'm gonna be his vessel?
No, my dear. We've got somebody planned for that. No, you're going to be the vessel for the power that's going to free him from where he is.
What is that? What power? What is it? Another demon? Please tell me it's another demon so I can kill it.
We'll get you another meal soon enough, but I was thinking something a little more on the lines of main course. Say a titan.
What? Which titan?
Oh, only the ones that you're gonna help free.
Wait, you want me to help you free the titans?
Well, not for long, obviously.
So freeing the titans will free Lucifer?
Something like that.
That sounds like a great idea.
You see, the Titans, they have been caged away for some time, but most people don't know about them and how powerful they really are. I mean, Lucifer had a hand in helping box them up. Unfortunately, him and his daddy made a place for Lucifer to be at the same time. Not that he knew at the time.
What? So the power of the Titans will free Lucifer from his bindings, cage, whatever he's in.
Now you're getting the bigger picture.
What? How do I fit into all this? Am I just a battery for these Titans to free your father?
Now you're getting the bigger picture.
That That sounds great. Yes, let's totally do this. How can I help?
Well, I like that you are coming around to the idea, but I think we're going to do a little more coercion. He takes his staff that you had seen so many times before, and he presses it to your forehead, and it starts to make you feel a little bit sleepy, but it also starts to make you feel a little more like, yeah, that is actually a really good idea.
This was sarcasm. I'm not actually giving into him.
Oh, I know. He knows,
Yeah. I'm sure he has encountered my sarcasm previously, so he knows I'm being sarcastic. I just wanted to be transparent.
Oh, yes.
So he does that, and I genuinely think that it's a good idea to help him. Okay.
Yeah, you start to think, yeah, you know what? That's probably not a bad idea. I mean, I got to deal with the Titans anyway.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
why not?
It's one way to do it.
Yeah. And as he does this, he actually, we'll skip back to you now that you're in the other room. Time starts to catch up a little bit, and you feel that your time in the dream escape, it's taken quite a bit of toll on you.
Right.
And you look towards your elder, and the elder says, not what I would have done, but interesting choice. Your time's coming to a close in the dreamscape. You must rest. You must eat.
Fine. I'll head back to my body.
Okay. So you head back to your body. As you do so, you start to waken up, and the body of the person there just flumps to the floor. And eventually, you hear footsteps coming from behind you, and you look over and you see another two gentlemen in darker suits, glasses, and they are escorting this woman in chains. You get a quick look and see that the chains have some kind of runic symbols on them. She is very beautiful. She's got this very long, sandy, blonde hair, and she is young looking, but she gives off a kind of an older kind of vibe. And she looks over at you for just a brief second, and you feel absolutely no ill will from her. Like, you actually feel calm in her presence. Like good things could come of this. And she catches your eye for a second, and then they escort her through the other room. You now see as two dressed gentlemen walk in the same figure I described, and Asmodeus grabs her by the chin like this, and he's like, "This is my little prize, and you did such a good job eating your first meal. I think we should give you a little taste of what's to come with the Titans." And she just kind of goes, "No!" And he clenches her by the jaw and enough to open her mouth up, and he kind of takes the staff or the scepter that he has, and he places it right in front of her mouth, and you see as this swirling bit of light comes out, and he guides it almost down to you, and it comes into you, and it just powers you. It empowers you like nothing has before. It doesn't feel as terrible as the demon had, but it is powerful.
Can I tell, is it safe to say this is her life force? Does she slump over as soon as that leaves her body? Or
it's not her entirety. They don't take much, or Asmodeus doesn't take much, just a sliver, enough to, we'll say, get you hungry for a main meal. But yeah, she does kind of slump over a little bit. She's not dead by any means, but she definitely seems drained of the experience.
Okay. I don't want to do anything at this point. I think I will just take that energy and feel it wash over me, and just
it's calming. It's actually it's very powerful, but it is calming and it is soothing. it gives you like this warm glow in your chest that you've never felt before.
Has she been touched by an angel?
No.
Oh, can I? So it does fill me with energy. Does it? It's not like I need to get rid of it type of energy. It's like a calming, almost like putting your hand in a warm stream type of thing. Like it's that type of.
Yeah, it's almost like being outside on a warm spring day, a cool breeze and just enough sun to make you warm.
I probably would just like really relax at that point, just like kind of chill out, because I'm assuming I'd be very tense from all of this and having the interactions with Asmodeus and having this warm light wash over me. I feel like I would just like and kind of just mellow out and not say anything for a little while.
You do notice that the cuts and everything that Alysia had made on you, as you kind of look down, they actually start to slowly heal over. So yeah, any harm plot-wise that you would have received, and the harm that you did give yourself magically, seems to heal itself.
Sweet. Glad I chose that one then. When that was sucked out of her, did she like make eye contact with me or anything?
No, she doesn't seem to want to make eye contact with you at all. She is kind of like looking away and down at the ground.
Okay. I will look at her and kind of like a sympathetic, like I'm sorry. And I'll try and reach out to her telepathically and try and talk to her and see if there is. I don't know if anything would necessarily block it, but I will try and say, I'm sorry for this. I it's not like I'm doing this on purpose, but I hope you're okay. Almost like I'm trying to be very comforting, trying to at least get across that I'm not doing this, not trying to hurt her. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. And I will also ask her name and see if she responds at all.
At the words coming to her head, she kind of looks up. She doesn't make it apparent so that nobody else knows that you may be speaking to her.
Sure.
And there's just silence for a couple seconds, and then she says, "My name is Antiope."
Okay. And I will say, if you can, try and help my friend in the other room. She can help us escape if that is at all within your power.
And she says, "It's not right now. My bindings make it impossible. But I could."
Just know that we want to get out of here just as bad as you do. How long is she staying in here? Like,
it seems like they're trying to like wake her or trying to like pull her back up to be able to remove her from the room.
Okay. As like, I'm assuming I don't have much time with her, so I will be very direct and say, what brought you here? How did you come to be his prisoner?
And she will say, "Asmodeus deals in many slaves."
Would I know that he deals in slaves? Is that something that he...
I mean, obviously he took you, and you have heard other voices in other rooms, especially when you were younger. other children, other people crying out as well. So obviously, yes, he probably keeps other people or has enslaved other people.
Okay. I'll say, I hope you haven't been his slave for too long. I know what it feels like to be in his clutches for years.
And she says, if you do, help me. And she, like, with a sudden burst of energy that you didn't think that she had in her, she, like, throws off the guards, like, just, like, struggles with them. Mm-hmm. And then she places her chains, because she, you see, right before that, has noticed that there was a tear that Alysia had caused in your hand. And she, like, does that, and she, like, pretends to, like, hit you with one of her hands, but she places the chain in that open hand from that one. Go ahead and roll me use magic real quick.
I hope this is good. Oh god.
Oh
that's,
no.
That's still 6 because I have +3.
Okay.
So it's not horrible.
It's still a failure.
It's barely a failure. Fuck.
You can use a luck point if you would
nope,
like.
Nope.
Not happening?
Nope. I will take that failure.
Experience.
Yeah.
You do get experience, yes.
I'm almost. I'm at 4. 4 out of 5.
All right. So I get to choose what happens.
Yep.
Let's see here.
So close. I know your days are close.
No, they're not.
Is there? I have not rolled very well at all tonight. Oh, that was a 7. That was good.
That was another 12.
That was
Shouldn't
a
waste
11.
Okay, well.
You can't waste it. That's not how dice work. I thought. Go ahead.
So, you grab the chain, and all of a sudden, the same kind of magic that washes over you when you another time or place or something that has already happened, this vision comes to you, and you see this same person, and she is in a hospital. And you see she's standing over a woman who is hooked up to a bunch of IVs and monitors and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And you see as she takes her hand and she kind of caresses this woman's face that's on the hospital bed. And she looks rather concerned about what is happening here. And then the door kind of opens suddenly to this hospital, and she kind of looks over and she disappears for a second, but in the vision you can keep track of her, but you understand that she is doing some kind of masking magic. Mm-hmm. And you see a very familiar face walk into this room. That is the face of Dawn.
Oh.
And you see as Dawn, like, now looks onto this woman with a very concerned face, and the makeup that she normally wears, the mascara, the eyeliner, mm-hmm. It has run.
Oh, yeah.
Like she had been crying a little bit, but she, in her tough exterior, kind of wipes it away, and she goes over to this woman's bedside, pulls up a chair, and like, grabs her hand. And you hear some low talking, but you can't make anything out. Okay. As this figure, Antiope, is standing alongside this woman, and you see as she seems to be thinking, like she's looking back and forth between Dawn and this woman on the bed, mm-hmm. and she is thinking rather hard, and she reaches down and she touches the woman's head, and all of a sudden this light comes from her eyes, and she starts speaking, and then all of a sudden you're back into the room, and there is a burst of magic. This is the glitch, and you suffer another harm.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. I'll put that back right.
Yeah, I'll just put that right back there.
Sounds good.
Roller coaster.
Yep. And as well as everybody else in the room suffers a harm because of it.
Oh, I hurt Antiope. Antiope.
Annie Oakley.
Yep.
I was trying to get the what are those symbols that help you know above letters that say this is a long O or a long E or whatever. I don't remember those accents.
Accents.
Yeah.
But yeah, Asmodeus kind of looks a little miffed at this, and he yells at the two demons, "Get her out of here!" And you see as she's leaving that the runes themselves have been, they're slowly like burning away off of the chains. And you now see her being dragged out of the room, and Asmodeus goes, "Well now, where were we?" And he presses the gem back to your forehead, and you go back all catatonic. Back in the other room, you hear this loud kind of pop of magic, and you hear a very angry, southern-sounding gentleman say, "Get her out of here!" And the two demons come back through the door with the blonde figure. And she now pays attention to you as she is looking through the door, and she, is trying to get your attention now as she's kind of trying to fight the guards a little bit and trying to stop, or at least impede them. And she says, "Cover your eyes."
Guess I close my eyes.
And I imagine you kind of
Yeah,
you
I'll
could
turn
probably
away. Best
bury
I can.
bury yourself in there. You cover your eyes, and there's this flash of light that you can even see through, doing your best to cover.
Right.
And you open your eyes again after it seems to succeed, and the two demons that were there, you look down and you see as they are nothing but piles of ash now. They are smoldering ruins on this already dirt floor, and this blonde figure is standing there, and she looks weakened. She doesn't look like she's going to be able to stand much longer. And she says, "Free your friend." And she goes over to you, and she touches the chains, and it seems like it rusts them a little bit, but then she all of a sudden hears footsteps coming from behind you again, and she suddenly vanishes.
Okay. I guess I start yanking on the rusted chains real quick.
The footsteps come behind you, and they give you a good punch right in your kidneys. And it's Jeremy again. He's stop struggling. You know you ain't getting anywhere.
How many hits is that, Jeremy? I'm losing count.
Last time name's not Jeremy.
Well, I asked you before. I didn't, but
it's good for story.
Yeah.
Say, guy, that grub.
Finally willing to eat, huh?
Look, obviously I'm going nowhere, and if I'm gonna just be demon food, I might as well enjoy the last few moments of life. So, yeah, bring it by.
He kind of smiles finally we win kind of smile. You hear now quiet from the other room. And as he leaves to go down the hallway to where they are storing food, you hear the door from this room. It opens up. That familiar, very creaky metal kind of sound. It opens up, And you see the figure you saw standing in the field come out of the door. And he says, this is the first time you've seen him since then. And he says, well, I hope your accommodations are to your liking.
Oh, better than a Motel 6.
That's not hard.
So, I'm sorry. We didn't get proper introductions.
Oh, where are my manners? My name is Asmodeus, Prince of Hell. How do you do?
Grace by Prince. Huh? What a great day for me.
It is, and I've heard so much about you, Henrietta.
Oh, I didn't know my reputation preceded me.
Well, our dear Olivia does speak nothing but good of you.
She's a good girl.
She is. Well, dear Olivia, why don't you come in here? And you now see Olivia walk through the door. She is dressed, and you have this, 10-mile stare. You are being completely subdued at this point.
Oh yeah, I figured.
And you now see Olivia. She is, completely, gone. She's there physically, not mentally. Seems like she's okay. It's really weird because you have definitely heard her screaming these past few days, but it doesn't seem like there are any injuries.
Mm-hmm.
But she is dressed back up in her clothes. But she has this terrible, terrible stare going on.
So, way I see it, you don't keep a old hunter like myself locked up for no reason, so when are you going to get to the point?
Well, that is exactly what I'm here to do. We're here for the point, right? And he looks over at you, Olivia, and he hands you a dagger from out of his shirt, and he goes, my dear, I think that Henrietta would like to get to the point.
Okay. So I will take the dagger, and I'm assuming I walk directly up to you with the dagger pointed at your neck and say, did you want this point?
Honey, I need you. Snap out of it. I know you are very powerful, and you need to realize that you can snap out of this at any moment.
Asmodeus puts a hand on Olivia's head and says, no, I don't think that she will. You see, she was mine to begin with, and you had taken her from me before her time. I mean, I do have to thank you because you gave us the missing key when I was able to retrieve her. I do thank you for that, but your usefulness has come to its end, and, well, I mean, if poor Olivia here were to kill her captor, then that'd just be step complete to another one of our plans. So,
And which key is that?
I don't think I'm going to spill that, because I'm just not the type to talk about that kind of thing.
Would I have any concept of what he's talking about?
Not a clue. And he says, you know what? I trust you, dear Olivia, to finish things up here, and when you do, just have one of my demons escort you home, and he is gone.
Okay. So it's just me and Olivia in this room?
It is you and Olivia in this room.
All
Olivia
right.
has... You're not tall, so maybe not quite to the neck, but you have it pointed up maybe right here at the bottom.
Sure.
Olivia, are you in there?
No.
Okay. Well, I am so sorry. I pull back my leg and I kick her in the chest.
So you kick her in the chest, and she's small.
Uh-huh.
It should definitely do something,
Mm-hmm.
but she takes a couple of steps back, and you see her eyes flash black,
Mm-hmm.
and she just kind of, and then walks back up towards you.
Okay. Well, while she's walking back, this is where I'm gonna like start jumping and trying to rattle my chains.
All right. So this is gonna be an interesting set of things. So, what I would like you to do is go ahead and roll me an act under pressure.
God. Roll high.
Can't help you.
Ain't got any cool.
At least you don't have negative tough like me.
Yeah.
What'd you roll?
That's a 5.
Oof.
I'm gonna say I will use a luck.
Oh.
So you get your experience as well, so make sure to mark that down.
Yep.
So it's an automatic 12, so yeah, you hop up and you, with the rust that this person had corrupted the chains with, it doesn't take you but a single pull to come down, but Olivia's already coming at you with the knife.
Alright. I'm gonna like grab her hand and try and wrestle that knife away.
Alright, so I want you both to go ahead and roll me 2d6s and add. I will allow you to use add your magic because you're in the demon form right now, and then you can use your tough to try to get them.
So I have my weird, right?
Yep.
That's 11.
11.
Fuck.
But the one good roll I rolled all night.
That is a 6.
6. Okay, so as Henrietta is coming down, she's hitting the floor. You're already there with the knife, but it's not quite where you had in your stupor had planned on her being. So you actually end up like cutting her like along the face here instead of the neck. So you suffer a dagger is 1 plus
my tough is -1.
No, your magic.
My weird is 3.
Yep. So 4.
Ouch.
Yep.
And I still have the 2 harm from earlier in the dreamscape.
No, because that is part of your physical. Keep those 2 like on a separate area, but this is physical harm.
Okay. So 4.
I never had to use my weird for physical harm before. That's fun.
Owie. Okay.
Yeah, so she comes and she cuts you like right along the face, and it is deep, and it cuts along your cheek and through your ear and like along your head there.
Okay.
Are you debilitated yet?
I'm pretty hurt. I am. Yeah, I am unstable. Yes, I am unstable. So.
In general.
With that weakness, like that sudden flash of pain, you see standing behind Olivia, you catch a glimpse of the Elder again, and he looks at you and he kind of makes a face like, "What are you doing?"
I'm going to reach forward with my fingers and tap Olivia on the head and try and push like the Elder did.
Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and roll me a kick-ass.
Okay.
But I also want you to roll me another attack, because this is happening, because you guys are interchanging blows.
Oh god, that's 12.
12.
Alright, so 10 plus 2 plus 1, 13.
Oh!
Yeah, good job.
So, you go in for the stab, and you, at the same time, you reach out and you tap Olivia's forehead, and instead of pushing out, it seems like you manage to push her from the body for just a second, enough to where she comes back, and that manages to, you coming back for just a second, you manage to like curve the blade around. But at the same time, it seems like it's going to hit you. And you, like, the blade goes right by you. And then suddenly you feel a presence behind you. It's Jeremy.
And I duck out of the way and let Olivia stab Jeremy.
He actually takes, like, he's seeing what's going on, and he's actually had snuck up behind you, and he actually takes that, and he starts, like, turning the blade around on you. Like, as she, like, went to your side, he's, like, turning the blade back on you. Go ahead and roll me a kick-ass.
Alright. Okay. That is 9 plus 3, 12.
12. Alright. So you manage to, like, see this blade coming, and you manage to kind of push his arm away a little bit. But at this time, Olivia comes back into that stupor, and she is, like, moving towards you, and all of a sudden that knife just goes right into her side. So what is your tough?
My tough is 2.
2. And then the dagger is a +1. And then...
Not to get too picky with your narrative, I do get extra effects for maxing out my 2 kick-ass, don't I?
Yep. If it's 10 plus.
Yeah. So both Olivia's hit and his, like, I get additional things, right?
All right.
So I think this is already kind of happening. I force them where I want them.
Okay.
So, like, I'm kind of like, as these two are trying to pincer me, I'm basically letting their knives kind of like pierce each other, which is already kind of happening.
Yep.
And then I'll also take +1 forward.
Okay. So you have +1 forward that you can use at a later time. So mark it down so you don't forget it. But yeah, Olivia, this knife comes to you, and you're not wearing armor right now. Not that you would anyway. So
what am I looking at for damage?
Yep, that's the one that Jeremy is doing here. And then, what's your tough?
2.
2 plus the dagger. So Jeremy takes 3 damage, or 3 harm rather. And Jeremy's is a 3 plus 2, so 5.
Okay. I'm looking very rough. Like, I am 1 step away from dying.
Jeremy looks at you and he goes, "Oh well," and he twists the knife that he's got in Olivia right now.
I think I'm gonna try and push Jeremy out of his body.
Okay, go ahead and roll me your kick-ass then.
Okay, that's 8 plus 2 plus 1. So 11.
11? Yeah, you managed to, but as part of his kick-ass at the same time, he twists that knife in Olivia, and you see, like, as you push out, you look back at Olivia behind you, and you see as the super fades, and she comes back into it, and she falls to the ground.
So as I'm pushing him out of the body, because it's above 10, could I push his demon form towards her as father?
Yeah, I'll allow it.
Okay.
So, as you're falling, you feel again that rage getting pushed into you, and you do pull it in. But you're bleeding out and you can't really do anything with it. I mean, it is sustaining you for the moment, and your, like, back is arching and everything. And I'm
diving forward and pulling that knife out of her, and I'm kind of holding her up. And
so it's at this time that the blonde figure that you had seen, she reappears to you as you are holding now the not quite lifeless, but definitely bleeding out body of Olivia. And she says, "I'm so sorry, I couldn't help more, but I may be able to in a while." And she's heavy breathing, like, you know, she has all of these injuries that you can see on her. She's finally been able to break the chains on her arms, and they look like they've been there for a while. And,
right.
Have definitely festered over.
Right. Twinsies.
Yeah. And she says, "This, once I have healed, I will meet you There is a tribe. Your tribe is here. Yes, somewhere in these hills.
Where are we?
Call them the Black Hills, I believe.
How the hell did we get in the Black Hills? Anyway.
We knew that.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because you said come to the Black Hills in the last...
Oh, okay.
I said it
Oh,
as you.
my bad. Anyway. Okay. All right, Livy, hold on.
And she's been carrying something under her arm, you see now, and you see that she is, like, from somewhere pulled a long corded, like, telephone, one of the, spin dial old ones, and she says, help her. Call somebody you know, but make sure it's not somebody that Asmodeus could corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
And she drops the phone and she disappears.
Shit.
You don't know anyone's phone numbers.
Right.
You do have a couple of people's phone numbers.
Okay, yeah. So I guess I would think, okay, Black Hills, who do I still know from home that or nearby, or a hunter that lives out here that can help?
You don't know any hunters, but you do know that you visited a couple of tribal places out here in the Black Hills before, and they would definitely give you refuge, but most of them only carry a phone, like, at the centers right now, Some have them in their phone, but it's mostly eldermen right now. But yeah, I mean, no hunters or anything out West River.
I think, yeah, I'm gonna try and call my cousin, and hopefully he still lives there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
That's my cousin Roger.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you dial his number, and you're doing your best to staunch the bleeding. And eventually you get a hold of him, and he says, "Yeah, I'll bring a truck."
Okay. I don't know where I'm at. I'll.
And he'll say, "Just try to get outside, get to a main highway. I'll find you."
Okay.
But, yeah. So you hang up, but like as her breaths are getting more shallow, you finally come to consciousness a little bit, Olivia, as you're like taking really short, shallow breaths, and then like that soul that you would sustain yourself off was enough to give you a bit more time, but it's not like with Antiope where you had healed up. It almost did more harm than good to your insides, but it gave you enough juice to kind of hold on for a couple more seconds. And you look up to Henrietta, the woman who's cared for you, and you feel your life force start to drain.
I look up at Henrietta and say, "It's okay."
No. You hang on. God, it's a fucking basement. I guess I'm gonna try and I want to try and rip my shirt, right, and my sleeve, and I'll rip both of them off, right? One I'm gonna wad up as gauze, and the other I'm gonna use to tie it shut over her wound. And I'm gonna be like, "You just gotta hang on, baby."
You know this is doing nothing.
Yeah, just hold me for a bit.
I do. The
breaths are getting more shallow.
I'm gonna lift her up, and I'm gonna try and walk her out of this basement.
As you try to lift her up, she the pain shoots through you, and you're just like, "Stop! Don't."
Just call them. They're the only ones who can help.
Fine.
Their number is 555-8924.
We're gonna break the.
I reach back my memory and I try and remember Gray's number, and
you are trying to staunch and both hold Olivia with one arm and do the spin dialing with the other one, blood covered hand and everything. And as you get that last turn in there, you feel Olivia just...
Baby, come on, wake up!
Suddenly a voice on the other end answers. It's Gray.
Gray, you gotta get here. It's Olivia. She's slipping away. We're somewhere in the hills.
And that is where we will end this episode.
You're somewhere in the hills, in the general vicinity of the hills.
We'll say Black Hills.